Charlie Kirk was not a good man. Regardless of how he died or who killed him, with several members of the Trump administration and the worst of the right wing media sphere using his death as an opportunity to call for the purging of queer people and political dissidents from society, and seemingly everyone else seizing the opportunity to double down on the exact type of deflectionary tactics Charlie used to make himself famous, it's more important to say now than ever. Sure, he had a family and nobody deserves to be murdered. And he may have been a devoted Christian for what that's worth, although I'm not religious myself, and I have my doubts about anybody who uses their religion primarily to amass a $12 million net worth. The important thing to me is that he was also everything else that everybody is saying that he was: an unrepentant homophobe, racist, and misogynist. If not Charlie himself, the policies he spent his life advocating for have done incalculable harm to millions of Americans. I want to go into a couple of clips that I think demonstrate this very well, starting with one that I've seen people using to defend him, to say, look, Charlie actually cared about LGBTQ people. Not so. I'm going to start out by playing the clip in its entirety. Charlie Kirk fans and really conservatives at large love to accuse people of leaving out context when they show clips like this, so I don't want to be accused of that. To set the stage, it's Charlie debating a transgender student on campus.
I just want to say I'm a transgender male. What age should kids be able to get things like hormone therapy? Because I don't know what's true, what's not.
Tell me, are you comfortable telling me your story?
I've known that since like third grade, and I'm currently 19, almost 20. I've known basically since then. I didn't start going by like a different name until 7th and 8th grade. I just don't know, like, with the whole medical stuff, like what's true, what's not, what's helpful, because I've heard so many different opinions.
First of all, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to have an opinion that very few people will ever tell you, which is I want you to be very cautious putting drugs into your system in the pursuit of changing your body. I instead encourage you to work on what's going on in your brain first. I think what you need first and foremost is just a diagnosis. Just someone that is going to listen to what you've gone through, listen to what else is going on. My prayer for you, and again, very few people will say this, I actually want to see you be comfortable in how you were born.
Yeah.
I know that you might not feel that way, but I think that is something that you can achieve. I think that with the right team and the right people, you don't have to wage war on your body. You can learn to love your body.
Now, Charlie danced around it in his answer, mostly because he knew he'd get in trouble if he said it in so many words, and he dressed it up in several niceties, another tactic of his, to seem like he's really just the nice guy that really cares about you and wants to debate. But what he's advocating for here, plain and simple, is conversion therapy for LGBTQ youth, something that is proven to cause harm, double suicide rates, and is banned in 22 states. I want to draw specific attention to this part of Charlie's answer.
I think that with the right team and the right people, you don't have to wage war on your body. You can learn to love your body.
While some transgender people do decide never to pursue medical transition or go on to identify with their birth sex, when you set out for that to be your goal, you are describing conversion therapy. There's no way around that. Let's go into some statistics and studies about conversion therapy. Let's start with the Trevor Project's 2021 national survey of nearly 35,000 LGBTQ youth. They found that 13% of LGBTQ youth reported being subjected to conversion therapy, and other studies have shown that that number is much higher specifically for transgender youth. Further, the study found that LGBTQ youth who underwent conversion therapy were 2.5 times as likely to report multiple suicide attempts in the past year. And then you have this study specifically of transgender adults, over 27,000 participants, and it shows that when you're exposed to conversion therapy before the age of 10, that number flies up to 4.5 times increased likelihood of suicide. Let's look back to that clip at how old the man Charlie was debating with said he was when he first figured out his gender identity.
I've known that since like third grade, and I'm currently 19, almost 20.
If they had followed Charlie Kirk's advice, they may not be around to debate him at age 19 or 20. This is the real harm I'm talking about, and what people mean when they say that, yes, Charlie Kirk was homophobic. There's dozens of other clips I could point to of Charlie Kirk talking down to and demeaning members of the LGBTQ community that show up to his events, and dozens of other deflections that him and his defenders love to use to tell you how they're actually caring people. But as far as the homophobia, I want to leave it at just that clip, because I think it demonstrates clear harm. Was Charlie Kirk a racist? I mean, very clearly, yes. But let's start with this classic clip.
Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
Well, that's obviously racist to me and sexist. What I've seen him use to defend it when he was alive, and his defenders saying today, is that it's actually neither of those things, because he wasn't talking about all black women. He was only talking about those specific black women. Never mind how weird it would be if Charlie Kirk was using his airtime to say that Sheila from accounting at the plumbing store in Columbus, Ohio is a DEI hire. That would be way too blatant even for him. Although he sort of likes to do that too if you think about it, because black women are extremely overrepresented on his infamous professor watch list. What he wants you to believe is essentially that he's not talking about all black women, he's just talking about any black women that are politically opposed to him and have attained a level of power that's too much for him. Charlie Kirk also infamously called the Civil Rights Act a mistake, and here he is doubling down on that sentiment with a young black man that came up to him at a political convention.
I have a question.
Okay, what's your question?
Why did you say that the civil rights bill should be overturned?
I didn't say that. I said it was a mistake.
Why? That's crazy.
Now you gotta figure it out.
I wouldn't be here. That's trouble.
That's the right wing's great debate champion for you. He wouldn't even explain himself when confronted. Guess you gotta figure it out, kid. And if you'll allow me to editorialize for a minute and go with something that's a little bit less evidence-based, I just want to point out the glee with which this man pointed out anything to do with black-on-black violence. He truly didn't need to say slurs when he said black with his whole chest like this.
Other blacks killing blacks.
Are y'all saying other blacks?
I'm not wasting any more time on that. The man was an unrepentant racist. Now, as far as the sexism and misogyny, I truly only think one clip is necessary there as well.
Just be clear, that's why you're going to college, right? Don't lie to yourself, I'm studying sociology. No, you're not. We know why you're here. And that's okay, actually. And that's a really good reason to go to college, actually, especially an SEC school. Like, you will find a husband.
Between the earlier statement about black women and their brain power and this one about how women should just be going to college to find a husband, it's not hard to figure out what Charlie Kirk felt about women. I find this offensive for a number of reasons, but also, my wife went to an SEC school. The job that she got with that degree primarily pays for the house that I live in and is a good part of the reason I can make these videos. She didn't go there to meet me, she didn't meet me there, and that idea is ridiculous, and Charlie Kirk is a sexist. Now, obviously, Charlie Kirk shouldn't have been murdered. Nobody deserves that. And the people making memes out of footage of his death or saying who should be next are definitely in the wrong here. But as far as people just trying to say that no, Charlie Kirk was not a good man, that's an understandable response, because he wasn't. And for the people that were particularly harmed by the policies that Charlie Kirk spent his life advocating for, it's not hard to imagine why at the very least somebody might cheer his demise. Nobody that I know on the left is advocating for political violence, and it would be wrong if they were. But just remember, you guys are more than welcome to eulogize your free speech champion if that's what you want to do, however you see fit. But he was all of the things we say he was too. This is the part of the video where I ask you for your support. I enjoy making videos and I have the time to do it, but it's a sacrifice that I make to be able to do so. I also think that it's very important for independent media to stay independent. As such, I don't plan to ever seek out sponsorships. If you want to support me, you can do so at patreon.com/awillroth. That's AWILLROTH. Also, if you enjoyed this video today, please like it, leave a comment, and subscribe. All those things are huge to help a small channel grow. And if you want to see me do live streams from time to time, I do that over at twitch.tv/AnthonyWillroth. Thanks for watching.